All right. Elephant in the room, burning dog in the room. What's going on? Okay. So, let's have a breakdown of all the issues that have been going on with JJK and the reactions and all of that sort of thing. Um, I haven't been ignoring it. I've just been trying to think because it's like the big issue is how does this happen? Why does this happen? And then what can we do about it? Right? And obviously, there's a lot of, discontent within the community. Brilliant work so far by Xanon in putting this out. This is definitely something that needed to happen. And thank you for Golden Ponyboy for responding and making sure that this player suggestions Discord is up. So, here's the thing that's going on. Xanon is a head mod, and as I understand it, Golden Ponyboy is a Billy employee. He seems to be taking the role of sort of a community team or a community manager for them. And obviously, there are other mods that do these sorts of things. Now, as best I understand it, this is an unpaid role. Xanon is volunteering his time, while I think Golden Ponyboy is probably Billy stuff. This is definitely a paid role. So this seems to be a community manager type thing. So number one thing here, don't send any hate to either of these guys. Tell them your problems with the game, keep it constructive and keep it about the game. No need for personal attacks or anything like that. But first, let's figure out what's going on and why some of these weird communication issues have been happening. So let's bring up good old Paint. So, the first thing we have to understand is that it's not just community team or, let's say, mods to players in terms of communication. Players, right? There's actually a lot more that goes on here. Oops. Okay, let's just do it like this. The big thing is this. The big thing is this. There's been a lot of miscommunication between what seems to be between the mods and the player base, but what I actually think is that it's much further up the chain. So how these things tend to work, in brief, is the JP side of JJK. JP side, so these are the rights holders, these are the original devs, the original publishers, all of that sort of stuff. They speak to Billy, and if we look here, Billy, China-based company, I believe these guys do Indonesia, Brazil, South Korea, and these guys do pretty much everyone else. So China/Hong Kong, useful to know, because there's going to be a language barrier already. Where's my paint? Here. So we've got a language barrier here because this is Japanese, this is Chinese. Then they speak to the community manager, which in this case is going to be Golden Boy. So we'll just call that CM. And then he'll speak to Xanon, which is the mods or the Discord mods. And then they speak to the player base. Players. And the way this has been working so far is that when the players have problems, we speak to the mods, who pass it on to the community team, who pass it on to Billy, who pass it on to the JP side, who speak to Billy. This goes back and forth an absolute shitload, assuming that all of these messages were passed on correctly. And then Billy gets to make decisions. And from what people have been saying, a lot of those decisions are around how many extra cubes they can give out and blah, 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 blah. Now, then Billy passes it back down the chain. So the community managers can speak to the mods, who can speak to the players. Now, what happens is, I think, that with the language barrier here, some things get lost in translation. I think the biggest example of that is the 3,000 cubes for the 15 million downloads between both JP and Global. My assumption is that Xanon, when he said that there was extra rewards coming, assumed this would be GBL only because of the expedited schedule, where either he wasn't told or something went wrong, that actually it's not global only. It's not global only. This is just everyone because of 15 million. This is everyone, and a 15 million thing, not compensation. Now, this I think is the general gist of how things are going. Apologies if I look to the side sometimes. I've got my OBS up on the second monitor so I can make sure I'm not covering anything. So that's how I think this is going. Realistically, this doesn't really matter, because when it comes down to it, this means nothing, absolutely nothing. None of it means a thing when you have new Control N. Yes. No, I don't want to save my work. Thanks. New. Don't save. Ugh. I thought that was default. Ugh. Hold on. When you have an annoyed or angry player base. The question is, why is the player base annoyed and angry? Well, it's actually twofold, I think. Obviously, the elephant in the room is this. Is when we go to the gacha screen in-game, this is what we see. We see Gojo. We see Momo. We see Itadori. We see Geto. We see Yuta. We see whatever the hell this is. And then we see the basic banner. But realistically, it gets worse than that. Because what's happening is actually this. On the 12th of the 11th, we got Junpei. Then on the 15th, 3 days later, we got Megami. 9 days later, we got Yuta. 5 days later, we got Geto. 4 days later, Momo and Itadori. 3 days later, Holo Purple. So the game has been in operation for less than a month, right? The 12th to the 6th. I'm currently recording this on the 7th. Less than a month. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus the SR banner, plus the launch banner. 9 banners in less than a month. We're up at over 2 banners a week. Now, why is this an issue other than just the cube income is terrible? Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, JJK is an IP gacha. Much like Dragon Ball Legends, much like Dokkan Battle and all of that sort of stuff. It is an IP gacha. What does that mean? More than anything else, people want to play with their favorite characters. When you move as quickly as JJK has, people do not feel like they've got even a semi-decent shot at getting their favorite characters. This can be mitigated by pity. This can be mitigated by elevating cube income or premium currency income. But JJK is known for no pity transfer. So this is terrible and is no longer really normal in a lot of gachas. So it's known for no pretty transfer, and it's also known for very low cube income. So even if someone has saved since launch, there's a good shot that at best by now, they've only gotten one of the characters that they've wanted. Which is very bad. Because people want to build teams with their favorite characters. for instance. Or strong characters. For instance, I really like this Momo. I have summoned on her 5 times because she's only been out for 5 days, right? And there was no tickets given, there was no tickets in the shop or anything like that. What does that mean? It means I don't have her. Okay? Also on the Momo banner, if we look in gacha details, we go into probability. There is a random... Where is he? Where's Kamo? Was he on the Yuta banner? Or am I on... Oh, I'm on Gojo. What am I doing? There is a random bonus Kamo on here at 0.18%. This feels insulting. Why? Because it is yet another character that has been sneakily introduced. So you could even say that this is a double banner. This is a double character banner with only one character featured. This is OG LRSTR Broly, right? This is OG LRSTR Broly. I would almost count him as his own character. That could be counted as 10. That means anyone who really likes that camo, for whatever reason, can't get him. Or can't realistically get him. Because even if he could, where is the game? It's here. If I go to in the exchange shop, where are he at? He's not here. We need things here. And to help mitigate all of this, either a lot more cubes or a lot lower pity. Like at this rate, if we're going to keep up at this speed, these need to be halved. Especially if we don't get transferable pity by the end of the year. That's going to be insane. Okay. So, that's speaking more about the free-to-play players than anything else. Where was I? Okay. But it's not just problematic for the free-to-play players. Why is that? Well, this sucks. Oh my god. This is terrible for for free-to-play and whales alike. That's a weird A. I-K-E. I promise I'll get good at writing on this. Alike. This is terrible for whales and free-to-play alike. Why is this terrible for whales and free-to-play alike? Let's have a look at this lovely cube shop. Now, in here, this is Australian dollars. I'm in Australia. I pay your money in Australian dollars. Okay. Down here, that's one of the chaotic crystal cube packs. Free, we get 10 cubes. We need 3,000 for a daily. For a multi, 300 for a single shot, or 100 paid for a daily reduced cost roll. So, on the basis that this game has 2.5%, I believe it is, character rates, gacha details. Probability. Yep, 2.5% character rates, 5% normal rates. Okay. By main exchange, whatever. So each individual single summon is 2.5% to be the character, 0.7% to be the rate up character, which means you're only got a 1/3 chance of actually getting the rate up character. Okay. So every 10 shot you do, and bearing in mind you probably need on average somewhere between 12 and 15 10 shots to have a really decent chance at the character, is going to cost me as an Australian $40. Right? $40. As an American, that's probably, what is that, high 20s, 28 or something like that. But this includes tax for me. It doesn't include tax for most Americans. And it doesn't really get better than that, even when you do their external payment methods. Look, still the exact same. I can check it in all dollars. I click USD, it switches. So 25 USD plus tax. I don't know what your taxes are. Ours is 10%. All our prices include tax because that's Australian law. So I'm going to assume this is actually closer to 27.50 for a multi in USD, right? For a multi 0.75 and 0.75, 40 USD. Where are we at? 65 Australian, right? I remember in Dragon Ball Legends when I was playing that, this pack, admittedly without the extra training things, this would be 3 multis. That would be 3 multis. That'd be 3 10 pulls. This isn't even 2. And it works out in whatever currency you're at. It doesn't work nicely for anyone at all. Just changes payment methods and all of that sort of thing. The only reason this is good is, guess what? There's a 15% recharge based on some arbitrary point thing, so you can get a little bit of extra back. Between that, this game has probably pulled in around $10 million. How can I check that? app.sensortower.com overview. And then we search for an app, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. You can see 4 million. And if I search for it here, hang on. Let's go to app analysis, Jujutsu. Yeah, see, you can see it here, 3 million. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus everything they get through this. And I've got to think most whales are going to use this because it makes it a bit cheaper. Now let's go back to AUD. I've got to think that they're probably cracking on around $10 million in the first month, which is a lot of money, right? So what does that mean? It doesn't mean a tremendous amount, but it means that at this rate, whales feel stupid for paying. There's no reason to do it. There is some challenge content, but I haven't seen anyone who's maxing every character on release like I do with Genshin, like I do with Dokkan, like I do with Wuthering Waves, like I do with Zenless, like I do with Legends, like I think I've seen a few times with Girls Frontline already. These whales don't seem to exist in this game because they're treated poorly. Believe it or not, a lot of whales don't like to spend tremendous amounts of money. They use the paid stuff, or most dolphins at least use the paid stuff to supplement the free stuff that they're given. The problem is, when you go this quickly, there's no free stuff to supplement, so we just skip, because we also know that eventually this is going to get updated. And so this takes a really interesting point, that eventually people are just going to stop spending on your game. And I think that's what Bilibili have missed here. With all of these sped up banners, with all of this miscommunication, with all of these weird and wonderful things that have been going on, this lack of currency, this constant stream of miscommunication and poor treatment of the mods, everything's kind of burning. But if we go back to that original thing that I had with those communication lines where we've got to go up like 6 to 7 different things on the chain, and then it's got to go back down to us, again, another 6 or 7 rungs. This is a lot of busy work. This is a lot of bureaucratic busy work. What does that mean? It means this all takes time. Which, I'm going to be real, the game is rapidly running out of. So what needs to happen? I mean, the obvious answer is more cubes. The obvious answer is reduced pity. The obvious answers are all slowdowns. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm sure that Bilibili have their own contractual obligations and all of that sort of thing. And I'm sure that they weren't expecting so much blowback, especially coming up on what is this, 9 p.m. Friday night in Australia, Thursday in the States. I don't know what the Chinese time zone is. Apologies for that. But that, I think, is pretty much everything that's going on. We need answers soon. Whoa. We need answers as soon as we can. Hopefully next week, if not by the end of December. And at the very least, until all of these go away, until not all of them, we're going to get something for Christmas, right? Until he goes away, until she goes away, at the very least, and hopefully these two as well. We don't get any more banners. We get more ways to get some cubes. We get more ways to get tickets for banner characters. They did some good jobs in terms of putting tickets in the quests and the events. So like if we look in Gojo's event in here, there are missions, as you can see, for resetting the prize pool to get tickets to summon on this. I have used 9 of these so far, and this I believe is probably the last one. We'll see. And a couple of extra cubes in there, and obviously some extra cubes in these prize pools here, as you can see. 5, so they top out at 5, so that's 150, 300, 100, so 400, 500. This needs to give like 3,000. It just does. It just straight up does. Even if it's like 300 or something like that across 10 of these, and then it goes into what is number 8, or if it's 350 across 7, that would be fine too. That's not even 3k, but you know what? We'll take whatever scraps we can get. But yes, I think that's the problems. That's why things have not been, quote unquote, listened to. I think it's been a whole mess of communication, mismanagement, lost in communication and translation work, and all of that sort of stuff that have really led to what is a horrible play experience for the players and a sinking feeling that no one can get the characters that they want. Which, at the end of the day, is the entire point of an IP-based gacha. They can be a little bit less polished on the game side, on the gameplay side. This is, after all, closer to Fate Grand Order than it is anything else, because of that IP. Because we like JJK. We're here because we like JJK. I think everyone would have quit at this point if it didn't have that skin on it. So if you do want to quit, I say do it. If you've invested time, I'm sorry, that's gone. You can't get that back. If you've invested money, that's gone. I don't think you can get that back. It is what it is. Don't buy into the sunk cost fallacy. Make sure you don't spend any more money or any more time if you're not having fun, so you can clear up your schedule for things that you do enjoy. This is a video game. It's not worth not enjoying yourself and forcing yourself to play it. It's just not. Other than that, that's me for the day, I think. Be doing some showcases soon. And I'll see you all in the next one. If you've got any questions, let me know. Peace out.